Hi, and welcome to the ONF Spotlight on 5G. I'm Timon Sloane with the ONF, and today it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Chih-Lin from China Mobile. Chih-Lin is the Chief Scientist for Wireless Technologies for China Mobile. She's also the TSC Co-Chair for the O RAN Alliance and on the Executive Committee for O RAN. Chih-Lin was personally instrumental in the founding of the O RAN Alliance, and she continues to play a critical leadership role with O RAN today. O RAN's at the apex of the organizations defining Open RAN, and the ONF is collaborating with O RAN and implementing against the O RAN architecture and specifications. So given this background, you can tell why it's my great honor to have Chih-Lin with us today, and I'm really looking forward to her presentation. Chih-Lin, please take it away.
Thank you, Timon, for that kind introduction. Hi, everyone. This is Chih-Lin. I'm really, it's a great pleasure to be here with you. So the title of my small presentation today is Embracing the Open Ecosystem Going Forward. And of course, we are all excited with being at the kind of the beginning of a new era, the 5G era. And as you can see that as of today, we already have more than 81 carriers around the globe that's offering 5G services. And there's actually close to 400 carriers across the globe that had announced or made investment into deploying and verifying a large-scale 5G network effort. I'm not going to go through all of it. You can see that in every single continent, every single economic region. And then very happy to share with you that in China today, we probably have built the world's largest 5G commercial network already in a short a year and a half period. The really official launch of the 5G network was started in June last year. And as of the end of July, we have already deployed over 400,000 5G base stations in China. And so far, 5G subscribers number has surpassed 88 million. And both are probably the largest scale in the 5G community. And in terms of the availability of the 5G capable smartphones, you can see that there are already almost 200 different ones that had been certified by the end of July as well in the Chinese market. And in the parallel, the large variety of potential 5G applications, both to benefit the general public, the consumer domain, as well as enabling the various verticals are also very much abundant. The number here is like more than 400 different trials and tests. Of course, not many are of large scale deployment yet, but really there is potentially explosive growth in that area. Now, what supports this phenomenon is, of course, the great work that's done in CGBP. As many of you probably are aware that we are already now in the phase 3 of the 5G standards track. The first phase is the basic definition and the specification for 5G, which was called Release 15. And that's also the version that's being deployed by the large number of carriers in the world today. But the second phase, Release 16, that further improved many of the key performances, including reducing the latency down to sub-millisecond, and also increasing the reliability from 5 nines to 6 nines, and also start introducing intelligence as well as more precise locationing or positioning capability at the meter level, so that 5G can really better facilitate and enhance vertical industries' needs has also been completed recently. So you will see that this will bring in further new features and capabilities into the 5G network and the solutions that will be put in field. And very excitingly, the third phase, RIC 17, that is looking at extending the capability of the 5G to even a broader scope, including, you'll see that the mobility target in this phase is going up from 500 kilometers per hour to now 1,000 kilometers per hour. As you can imagine, this is probably covering not just the landline vehicles. This would be some low-flying objects, including the more comprehensive usage of UAV type of terminals. And then the positioning accuracy will further be improved to sub-meter level. And also, you may remember that there were 3 main categories of 5G applications that was envisioned. In addition to the enhanced broadband, mobile broadband, EMBB, there is also the massive IoT, massive connection, as well as the ultra low latency and high reliability application, URLC. But the massive IoT target of 1 million connection nodes within 1 kilometer square was actually not fully covered in the first 2 phases of 5G because NB-IoT, which was a derivative of the 4G standards, kind of covered the initial basic need of that. But now in phase 3 of 5G, this particular category of applications will be put in the center stage again. So you can expect a lot more exciting new solutions is going to come from there. Now, to me personally, actually looking at what we have been through in the past 10 years, and also looking out for the coming 10 years, I would say if you put the 5G as the center, it is really a very important epic point of our industry, in the sense that up until 4G, every generation we were improving the technology and capability pretty much built upon communication technology, continues improving its efficiency, continuously squeezing out every last bit drop of the so-called spectral efficiency. And but from 4G to 5G, actually, it is a transition of going from CT-centric to a true ICT convergence. It's a deep convergence of IT technology, CT technology, which is carried through by many of the important activity and programs that took place in the past 10 years. That most importantly, we can use the SDN NFV as an example, going software-centric, softwareization. These are the different keywords that people like to use. But basically, I actually started pushing for both efficiency and agility as early as 2011. That's when you hear me talking about the green and soft. But in the beginning, actually, the soft part was not very much welcomed by our traditional mobile industry because everyone was afraid of losing efficiency if we want to introduce agility and programmability. But of course, long story short, at this point, I think as far as 5G standards concerned, you can see that it actually has natively the characteristic of ICT convergence. It has basically embraced the combination of efficiency and agility. You can see that reflects from core network, from access network, as well as the protocol stack and air interface design of the 5G. But more importantly, going forward, I believe there is yet another very important transition, which is a continuing of the ICT convergence we have started almost 2 years ago. That is ICDT convergence. The ITDT plus the powerfulness of the data technology, the big data, the AI, machine learning technology, and moving forward, I think, in addition to green and soft, open and smart are the key element, key theme that we need to embrace while we continue to improve 5G and started even thinking about what 6G might be. Okay, now in this transition, in this journey, I think the radio access network is probably the hardest bone to chew. I would say it has been a very challenging, I think, journey, but very interesting and exciting. Actually, even going from the traditional CT approach of emphasizing very much on one-dimensional key performance, which is basically efficiency, to now being able to incorporate the agility of IT technology that it brings in to our 5G system. You see that we started very early from 2011, 2012 timeframe, going through various stages, and also with the partnership of not only activities in CGBP, but also the ETSI, the IEEE, the ITOT, and the many other alliances, such as C-RAN Alliance and the Wireless Big Data Alliance altogether. But today, our key, I think, main character is O RAN, Open RAN, which is basically a combination of all of the efforts that we have been through in almost 10 years in the past. And here it is. This picture, I think, had been seen by some of you before. This was in Barcelona, the MWC 2018, when the CTOs of the 5 globally largest operators from all 3 different continents, 5 different countries, got on the stage and told the world that our industry needs to look forward to a much more open and intelligent global ecosystem. And the opportunities and challenges abound, because we would like the future RAN to be to come with native intelligence, to be able to benefit from the cloudified foundation platform, and to be able to embrace also not open source software, as well as open reference design hardware. And as a basic starting point, we would need to make sure all the key interfaces and APIs are in place and that they are truly, fully, comprehensively defined and open. Now, this is actually the organization, the machinery that has been at work for almost 2 years now. The O RAN underlying reference architecture, where we have the non-real-time RIC, RAN intelligent controller, and the near real-time RIC together to infuse, hopefully eventually, a native intelligence into the RAN, as well as open CU, open DU, and RU with all the key interfaces, not only the key interfaces that are defined by 3GPP as U1, F1, but also open front-haul interfaces that are based on probably eCPRI or CPRI, but truly open, okay? And also new interfaces, A1, E2, that O RAN lines are introducing for the sake of introducing intelligence in the end-to-end RAN architecture. And the work is divided up right now to 9 working groups, and each is co-led by 2 operators and 2 vendors. As you can see, I have them listed here for each and every one of them. plus 3 focus groups that you can see over here. One focus group focused on how to engage and align and maybe complement and contribute back in to the relevant standard bodies from the output of the O RAN Alliance. And then that's the SDFG, Standard Development Focus Group. And then the Test and Integration Focus Group addresses another very important issue in such a disaggregated world where different pieces of hardware and software through the key open interface or APIs gets integrated together, and you can mix match it from third-party provider, fourth-party provider, or anybody, a multi-vendor solution. Capability is a very important value offered by O RAN. And then the test integration focus group helps to guide across all these working groups and making sure that the pieces of the various hardware, software can really be put together and integrated and testing their performance and their functions and interoperability, etc. Okay. And then the third focus group, open source focus group, I will have some pages reserved for them to elaborate further. But basically, this focus group helped to build the open source community that O RAN Alliance, together with Linux Foundation, has launched last year in April. So with this reference architecture and the working groups, focus groups, and open source community, as well as I didn't list it here, we have a large number of task groups which further focus on respective sub-scope of tasks related to different working groups. I think the Alliance has made a great progress in the past year and a half. The first, I think, the key element of open, let me address, is on the hardware side. We call it Open Reference Design, ORD, and AKA Whitebox. I think Whitebox may be the term that more people are familiar with. And we believe this approach, because what we are doing is providing a baseline, a starting point of the hardware platform in various parts of the subsystems of the O RAN, where not only the horizontal decoupling of hardware software and vertical decoupling of various modules, the CU, the DU, RU, and even some hubs or gateway or multiplexer unit between these modules, they are all properly decoupled and but integratable. This approach, this will enable really different players that has just the right expertise of a particular subset to contribute directly and very easily. And also, it also helps to lower the overall technical entry barriers for new players to come into the emerging ecosystem. And in addition, this creates source diversity for the operators or any customers that need the solution. So all in all, this would, I think, enable a healthy and cost-effective and high-performance solution for anyone and everyone that has a need. Now, we have started a field trial using the Whitebox primarily for indoor pickle cells since actually last year. But last year, of course, our trial was involving 4G Whitebox, whereas we have started the 5G Whitebox field trial this year. And the goal is to verify not only the functional integrity, but also system stability, reliability, and also to evaluate how the TCO impact this would be, and as well as looking for opportunity eventually to bring in the RAN intelligence that RIC will bring. So you can see that we are now about here. So we are doing 5G pico cell field trial in, I think, two categories of environment. One is more for basically the general public network. The other is actually for some vertical industry, local environment. Both have great potential as far as we are concerned. And by the end of this year, I think we will be ready to bring in the RIC also into the picture of the field trial. Now, this is the overall roadmap of O RAN Whitebox, or open reference design for hardware. Of course, I don't have time to go into detail, but you can see that the first phase, actually last year through most of the year, we have, till now, we have pretty much done 4 different releases of the indoor pico cell white box, which I think is very much ready for commercial use. And now we are starting the outdoor macro cell. And then by the end of this year, beginning next year, we will be going into the outdoor pico cell. So these are, I think, the new activities that O RAN Alliance is working group is focusing on to deliver. Now, that's the hard side. Now let's go to the soft side, the open source software. Actually, we had shortly after the MWC event where the 5 CTO got on stage, basically in April, we had the first preliminary discussion. This was, mind you, this was before the official launch of O RAN Alliance. We had a discussion with Linux Foundation about how to form joint leadership, jointly sponsored open source community, realizing O RAN vision and O RAN specs. So in October, when the O RAN Alliance was officially launched at that point, we also launched the open source focus group. And with that effort, successfully April last year, the this O RAN open source community or software community was officially set up with the partnership of the Linux Foundation. I have to say that there is something that's worth mentioning is we have to the discussion actually that really leads to a breakthrough accomplishment so that this joint sponsorship could happen was, I should have highlighted the red, very innovative dual license policy we have set up for this particular open source program, where we have the flavor of Apache 2.0, which is licensing free, basically, free for everything, free for all. But we also have the more 3GPP friendly type of licensing, which is the FRAND type of IPR arrangement. We actually, under this open source program, we have dual repositories. Each has a different IPR arrangement. And we believe that this is the breakthrough solution that enabled finally the Linux Foundation community and the 3GPP community that can get together and deliver solutions that can benefit all of us. But anyway, with that, I think it was May, a month later, we kicked off the first project, and also our members started uploading some seed code. And about 6 months later, first release, A release, in this case, Ember release, was accomplished with more than 1 million lines of code and more than 60 committers from more than 10 companies that had helped to accomplish that. And this is where we are right now. We have 10 major projects here that covers every important module of the O RAN reference architecture. That I won't spend time to go through it, but you can see that the team leaders come from major operators, major vendors, as well as new emerging vendors, and also the IT industry players, the chip players, and the new software solution providers, etc. But actually, this year, even amid COVID-19, the pace has been strong. In June, we have released the B release, the second release, the bronze release, where this time we had more than 3 million lines of code contributed by more than 80 80 commuters from more than 15 companies. And it actually not only have more comprehensive coverage of the O-RAN end-to-end system, but also you probably could imagine that the A release was kind of kick off. So it's anything goes. But starting from B release, the code developed here are kept much more aligned with the activity that is taking place in O-RAN Alliance's corresponding working groups. So there's a lot of alignment that is being done. Okay, I promised to spend some time highlighting the RIC part of this work. And actually, the non-real-time RIC and the near real-time RIC are two key parts of O RAN Alliance's work. And one is working in the realm of a control loop, probably at around a second or a longer time. Whereas the near real-time one, sorry, there's a typo. This should be near real-time, not near real-time. Would it be at a sub-second, but probably more around 100 millisecond time frame. So it's between 10 milliseconds and 1 second. And then we are also looking at some functions that probably can be called a real-time control loop now for under 10 millisecond or around 1 second opportunities. But this has not been officially formed as a working group yet. Okay. Now, the corresponding open source community projects for non-real time has also gone through two phases: the release A, the Amber release, the release B, and the Bronze release. And the baseline architecture, function architecture, and the key interfaces and APIs, as well as the actual functions that's hosted by the non-real-time RIC, the RFs are all taking place. And corresponding to the near real-time RIC, similarly, I don't have time to go through the detailed architecture, but basically both non-real-time RIC and near real-time RIC are aiming at a feature that is we can have a multiple realization implementation of the RIC platform. Okay, it could come from open source realization, it could come from multiple variation open source realization, or even maybe for some time there will be some proprietary realization. But they must be realized in a way that it meets the O RAN Alliance requirement of the API, the framework, so that any third parties apps that is part of the non-real-time RIC function or near real-time RIC function can be hosted on this platform. So basically, we would like to enable various XFs on near real-time RIC and RFs on non-real-time RIC that's developed by anybody to be able to function across different realization of the RIC platform that coming from whether it's built upon our open source community codes from Linux Foundation, or maybe from ONF, or even from some vendors. I think this is the true value that we would like to deliver to our ecosystem. Now, right now, we are in the C release phase. So Cherry release is scheduled to be completed in the beginning of December. I think we are right now in milestone 3, somewhere here, right in the middle of it. But there is still opportunities for new players, new contributors to join. So the title on this page is calling for more industry collaboration. And you can see that this work is being carried out with very detailed plan, week by week, actually, checkpoints, and also with close collaboration with O RAN Alliance's working group work. And we also have major working group reviews scheduled along the way. Now, OTIP is something that we believe forms a very important element in O RAN Alliance effort, Open Test Integration Center, where in Asia, in North America, in Europe, there are multiple sites that's being set up, which will be the platform that is available to our ecosystem globally to test and try your own set of software or hardware, so that first of all, the compliance, secondly, the interoperability would be tested out in this infrastructure. And I'm happy to tell you that actually the first OTIP was launched last year in November, and then subsequently, I think maybe just a few weeks later, we actually held the first global Plugfest across 3 different regions simultaneously. And I don't remember all the numbers, but just in the Asia OTIPs alone, in that event, there were more than 70 participants, 70 companies that participated. So globally, the number would be much greater. And then this year, the exciting thing I would also like to bring to your attention is the second global Plugfest of O RAN Alliance will take place second half of this month. It's actually from September 21st to the end of the month. And there are going to be even more sites. I think there are going to be 3 sites in Europe, at least, from Germany, Spain, and Italy. I believe these are the 3 sites. And in US, there will also be probably a couple of sites, East Coast and West Coast. And then in Asia, in Japan, in India, in China, at least there will be 3 sites, or maybe even more than 1 site in some countries. So it will provide, I think, open online participation or observation at the end of this Plugfest. So please keep your eyes open for that opportunity, probably the last couple of days of September. Okay, I believe that in more or less 2 years' time, this benefited from the great enthusiasm and momentum from our global community. We have gone up to now about 220 members already, including pretty much all of the major operators around the world, and pretty much all of the major vendors. But it's actually, we have now members from, I think, truly a mix of the CT industry, the IT industry, as well as the city industry. And together we have already delivered more than 50 published specs of various aspects of the future RAN. And also, as you heard, that the 2 open source software released already, and going to be a second global Plugfest. Oh, by the way, as this year everything has gone virtual, we have converted many of the physical demos and showcases now to online virtual exhibition. So if you're interested, there is the link you can go to there. I think we had more than 30 various demos that includes the white box, includes open phone call interface, also includes some of the preliminary RIC demo of the benefits of bringing the intelligence to RAN. Okay, I think words or paper design is not really important. Important thing is what is happening in the field. And you can see that large number of operators have announced their plan or have actually put in a real O RAN type of network in the field. So with that, I think we are very much on the way and truly enjoying this journey of going from green and soft to the open and smart of the ICDT deep convergence. And I believe going forward, the three key elements, the standard development organization, SDOs activity, the open source community effort, and also with native AI coming through all parts of the network, there is a beautiful perfect storm. By storm, I don't mean anything negative. I mean exciting, beautiful, perfect storm that's being formed, and it will transform our landscape, transform our ecosystem, and we can look forward to the beautiful rainbow of that. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me. That's all.
All right, Chih-Lin, thank you very much. That was really a great presentation, a great overview of everything that's going on. And it's really amazing to see what ORAN has accomplished in the 2 short years. It's very exciting, huge spectrum of work, and really fantastic to see all the momentum and the perfect storm, as you described it. So I'm curious if you could, so we have this, you mentioned a horizontal disaggregation, RUDUCU, and then a vertical disaggregation as well with the RIC and the XApps. Where do you think that multi-vendor interoperability is, well, I was going to say most important, but maybe you think they're all important, or maybe where is it going to take place first as ORAN gains traction in deployments?
Okay, I think of course, we are not going to get to the end game in one step, but I believe that the first step that both is very important and also very likely to be seen in a large scale is on the open front hole interface, because there's one part of our network, the CPRI interface in the old days that has been like the sacred proprietary interface that nobody can ever. I mean, I personally always find it funny to call it a standard. And how can it be a standard when it's not fully standardized? So here we have one of our working groups has delivered what we call open front hole, ORAN's OFH, okay, spec, which is based on a new generation of the front hole interface. It's called eCPRI. So basically, if you're familiar with the lower layer split debate that we've had, I think even as early as 2012, we started looking at all different places that we could maybe partition out the RU with a fully specified open interface. The eCPRI is based on 7-2 option, as opposed to the traditional CPRI would be called the option 8. And yet there's another relatively popular one, option 6, which is more of the approach that the small cell forum for many years has been taken. But I think right now, going forward, everyone expects the 7-2, which is eCPRI based front hole interface, to be the mainstream. So we do have a comprehensively specified out open front hole with that. And I believe that we have a lot of members and non-members that are building product based on that. So the mix and match over that interface will happen first, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, I think bringing the intelligence, our non-real-time RIC and near real-time RIC, as I said, one is more in a second above time domain, and the other would be like maybe 10 milliseconds to 1 second range, the near real-time. In a way, even though we call both of them controller, intelligent controller, but the non-real-time controller touch upon the border of the management plane. So there is important coordination between the non-real-time RIC and the traditional management system, the OAM system, as well as the new age, the cloud age manual managing and orchestration system. And I believe that part will also probably happen earlier than the true near real-time RIC in a larger scale. Because truth be told, it's easier there because the time constraint is not so stringent. So we would see that that part will also bring great value to our system, especially in addressing the vertical industry's needs, where you need to have efficient, fast capability of reconfiguring and tailor-made, making very unique KPI targets that different industry will be requiring. I think those two would be, one would be kind of in the bottom, the other would be more from the top. Those are probably going to happen first.
Yeah, good, thank you, very good. So I'm curious too, you mentioned compatibility between multiple near real-time RICs and third-party apps. And I'm curious where ORAN is in the process of defining that interface to make XApps and near real-time RIC compatible and interchangeable between multiple implementations. Oh,
that is a really good question. The near real-time RIC platform itself needs to provide essential baseline framework and capability, okay, such as the XApps management, conflict resolution, and the interface termination and service mode, transferring and execution. But for this, if you think of a near real-time RIC like a box that sits between the non-real-time RIC and the CUDU and RU, you would need to have ability to host XApps that maybe can optimize your access and mobility management in a more real-time manner, and maybe can help you to provide a cross-layer user experience optimization, the QoE optimization, for example, make sure that the resource is allocated according to the actual needs as well as the actual status of the network, how much resources there. And so you have to have cross-layer knowledge and being able to provide cross-layer analysis and make a decision so that you can, with whatever resource you have, you can improve and optimize the user the experience of the services. And also sometimes you would want to be able to provide maybe location-based optimization or interference optimization management and load balancing. And all of these various capability and functions, you can call that the various elements of the XApps. Okay. So these XApps, and maybe there will be new that third party, first party can invent and create new XApps that all need to sit on your RIC. Okay. So how we can make it easy for different XApp developers to develop an app that can sit comfortably in your RIC, my RIC, his RIC, anybody's RIC. I think there are key interfaces and particular key open APIs that need to be common and clear and as simple as lightweight as possible. So right now, just for the near real-time RIC, we are looking at API related to between the XApp and the E2 interface, and between XApp and A1 interface, as well as O1 interface. And in addition, the interface that's needed between the data, what we call RNIC for radio, for RAN status, as well as UENIC for user information. Okay, and with all this database has to have a good interface that anybody's XApp would have. So there are really a set of multiple APIs that are very key. I think this is also something that is most active ongoing discussion, both between the working groups that's working on the near real-time RIC and the joint open source community PTLs for the respective projects, and also with additional partners such as ONF actually, and some other vendors. I would say that I want to use this opportunity to also welcome everybody's idea, because in our industry, we believe in the benefit of keyword, which is diversity. Okay, different opinions all have values, and we should try to benefit from everybody's brain power. So in this sense that I guess I want to thank ONF for being a very active and the helpful contributor as well to this.
Well, good, Chih-Lin. Well, thank you so much. I think that I really appreciate your time today. Fantastic presentation. Great to that you spent some time with us in our community and bringing everybody up to speed. A lot of exciting things going on. And thank you for the kind words about ONF. And we likewise value the collaboration with you and all the operators and the broader community. It really is the strength of a community, both the companies involved and the other organizations involved. And this Open RAN space has a lot of interesting pieces, but I think that they are really all aligning in a nice way towards a common goal. So it's wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Thank you. And I think we are all very blessed to be together in this exciting time and in a common global joint community, a big family together.
Yeah.
Thank you.